Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I want to talk about the resilience problem in Destiny 2 and what I think can be done to address this situation. So, there's been a lot of back and forth on social media on the problems that max resilience has right now, in that it is overtuned compared to the other traits. Now, I kind of agree with that personally, and the reason being, it feels like resilience has surpassed mobility and recovery as far as their ease of use. So even hunters and warlocks are building into resilience, whereas a Titan, there's really no need to ever build into mobility or recovery. And I think that's where the separation becomes a bit of an issue because overall, these three should be on the same level. So, would you want to see resilience nerfed or the other two buffed? I think it's a little bit of both. I do think because of some of the abilities we have in the game, for example, with the Titan, you can generate an overshield, you can heal on melee. There's a lot of ways to get your health back, so that 40% damage reduction is so strong, and then you don't need increased recovery whatsoever. You get your barricade back faster with the max resilience, and the mobility has no, like, it's not a necessary feature, especially if you're a PvE focused player. So because of that, that's where I would like to see things change. I think maybe a little bit less damage reduction, not as much as some people are saying, because I know there's a big gap in thought process between players who are endgame grinders with max builds versus casual players who just want to have fun and don't want to stress out about playing all this different types of content. So because of that wide gap and because of how different people are going to see the game, there's got to be a little bit of a balance. So I do think bringing mobility, giving it a little bit more usefulness, like for example, if it really coincides with strand, because like you see with resilience, it reduces the amount of damage you take when breaking out of stasis. Say mobility increases how far you can grapple with strand or something like that, then you could think about really building into mobility with different classes. Same thing with recovery. If you have something like it reduces the ongoing effects, negative effects like burning over time, damage ticks over time, something like that. Now you want to build into recovery a little bit more, right? Even with other classes, if you're in a Le Monarch meta in PvP, now recovery matters much, much more. So adding those benefits to those other character stats, I think, is the better way to go rather than just nerfing resilience all the way to where it's not useful. But I do want to make it so in the future I have a thoughtful decision to make when I'm building into these stats. Like right now, intellect doesn't really matter a lot. If I'm running certain builds, then even my strength and my discipline don't matter as much as I would like them to, because the benefits of just getting things faster is outweighed by the fragments, the new perks, the new character abilities, the new weapon traits that you can get, that all will increase how quickly you get your grenade or your melee or whatever, to make those stats less meaningful than I would like them personally to be. So I don't think a complete overhaul of the system is going to be something that Bungie is going to dedicate a lot of time and effort to, but I do think with some little tweaks you can make these stats a little bit more viable, and that's ultimately what I would like to see. I'm a fan of variety and versatility. So the more competitive every one of these stats is, the more likely we are to see a varied number of builds and people mixing and matching a little bit more and making it so you want to really build hard into these specific stats. And right now, resilience is the only one that across the board you want to build into no matter what class you're running, and that's where the problem lies, right? You can buff everything to be on the same level as resilience, but I think then everything would be overtuned and things would be a little bit too easy. You know, power creep is a thing. I know not everyone loves to hear things getting nerfed, especially in PvE, but it also does affect PvP as well. So for that reason, that's why I think the nerf is important. A little bit though. You don't need a nerf in the ground. Say you drop it down to 30, even 25% damage reduction at max, and then you add in some other benefits from the other stats. That's where you kind of meet everything in the middle ground. So resilience is still nice to have. You're still going to favor it when you're on the Titan, but maybe now I can build into one of the other stats so that way it's a little bit more even. I can really kind of use my decision. Like I've been playing the game since day one, so I have so many armor sets that allow me to get to max resilience. I don't even think about it. I always do that no matter what, and I wish it was just a little bit more of a thoughtful decision that I have to make going forward. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I do think people get a little carried away of like just looking at it as like, oh, we need to completely nerf resilience, or oh, leave it alone because there's no reason to nerf things. The game is fine. We never nerf everything in PvE. I've had that talked about in the before. I made a video about nerfing Heart of Inmost Light because it, not because it's too strong necessarily, because I do think it is, but just because it overshadows so many of the other exotics. That's my problem, is I don't like it when one thing is just better than everything else to where you never have to think about which one you want to use, because this one is the no-brainer choice, you know? Especially if it's something that like you can just throw on every build and you never really have to mix and match or change. So that's my thoughts on the situation. I'd love to hear from the community on what you guys think. I do want to see some more adjustments to the character stats going forward to make them more meaningful across the board, instead of just throw this on, survive, and never have to worry about it. It's just it's too good right now in my personal opinion, and completely overshadows the rest of the stats. Other than that, yeah, those are my thoughts. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there for everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, make sure you like the video if you enjoy it, and stay tuned for more videos from me heading into Lightfall. I'm going to have a lot more of these types of videos heading into Lightfall, because the build videos are going to be completely different. There's really no reason to bust out build videos in Destiny 2 right now when we have so much changing. With Lightfall, there's going to be a complete overhaul of a lot of the systems, so there's really no need to put those types of videos out now. So I wanted to go over some other things that I think are going to affect the way the game is played heading into Lightfall. So subscribe if you want to see those going forward. For sure. I appreciate all the support on the channel. It's been tremendous. We've still been rocking out some good videos, even though the content is going to dry up a little bit here on the road to Lightfall. Everyone's prepping for the next season, and yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I think Lightfall is going to be a major turning point in the franchise heading into the final shape. So I'm very excited about that personally. Anyway, I hope you have a good one. My name is JoPa, and I'll catch you all later.